right, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the latest episode of the MLB GuardCast. I am Mike Vorhies. He is the statistician extraordinaire, Bryan Shaw. Mr. Shaw, good afternoon. How are you, brother?
Good afternoon. It's been a little while. We decided to take some time and process the playoffs, process the season, give you a little bit of a recap. It's hard to say that it wasn't a successful season, and we told you it would be most of this year. It was exciting.
It absolutely was. I mean, you call it a break. I call it a mourning period. I kind of put all of my Cleveland Guardian stuff away for the season, and yeah, a little sad. I wish we were playing in the World Series right now. I think we're better than the Astros or the Trash Pandas or whatever we're calling them these days. I honestly think they're better than the Phillies too, but I digress.
I think we would have given the Astros a better series than the Yankees did.
Yeah.
I don't know if we would have beat them, but the Phillies are kind of proving the old adage that just get in and get hot,
Hmm.
and we'll see what happens. They won 87 games this year, the
Yeah.
Phillies did. And
I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for the Phillies to win. I like Bryce Harper. Schwarber, I know he's from Ohio, but not so much. But
not
I'm a
after 16.
no, I'm a huge fan of Bryce Harper. I think he plays the game the right way. So I'd like to see him win. I think it'd be
Yeah,
great.
he's a fun dude. Yeah, I can't be mad. I'm happy they got as far as they did. I think it was a great learning experience for them. I think it was um, a really special season for these young guys. I just can't move the bar on them. If I didn't expect them to make the playoffs this year, I can't
Mhm.
expect them once they got into the playoffs to be in the World Series. That's just not. I don't think that's a fair assessment, regardless of how kind of I felt about how the series went. And I think some of the young aspects of the team went into that. They were terrible with runners in scoring position in that Yankee series outside
Yeah.
of one game. If you remove game three, which was the comeback game and
Hmm.
Oscar Gonzalez's walk-off, they were 3 for 40 with runners in scoring position.
Ouch.
That's an 0.75.
That's not going to
So
get it done.
regardless of which pitching matchups you had, regardless of in game five, if you started Bieber or you start Savali, you're not winning the game with one run. And in game one, we had a chance to knock out Garrett Cole early. They had the bases loaded, and they didn't get it done. Even for the overall series, even if you include game three, they were 12 for 57 with runners in scoring position, which is only a 211. For the season, they were 259.
Yeah.
There
Just
was a there was a couple of guys that just didn't have their best. And unfortunately, one of them was Andreas Jimenez, who had been clutch in those situations. He only batted 179 in the postseason, but we learned later on that about a month ago he broke his thumb.
yeah, that you shared that information with me, and I can say that I was shocked, but it explains a lot. I mean, we knew how clutch Jimenez was all season, and he just didn't look himself. He looked overmatched. He looked like he was pressing. He looked like he was
Hmm.
trying to do way, way, way too much. And a lot of Guardians fell into that category
Yes.
as well. I mean, they
Josh Naylor batted 194 in the postseason. I mean, he was another guy where it's like we were trying to play Yankee style baseball instead of Cleveland
yeah.
Guardians style baseball.
Yeah, they were trying to hit the long ball every at bat. I mean, I'll be honest, they kept Aaron Judge quiet for the first two games. I think the first three games. And then Aaron Judge proved why he is such um a great ball player. Although, side note, he's unfollowed the Yankees
I did
on
see that.
Twitter.
I did
Yeah.
see that.
Little foreshadowing possibly.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've heard Boston, I've heard San Francisco. Both of those teams have the budgets. They're not as high as some of those other teams budget wise, so they have the opportunity to go get them.
Yep, I heard
Yeah,
the
I mean,
Dodgers. I heard the Dodgers as well. They're going to try to create like the most nasty super team offensively you've ever seen. Mookie Betts has even said he'll move to second base.
that'll be interesting. Yeah, we'll see.
I guess out in LA, you don't have to worry about the luxury tax.
Well, and that was a situation too where, runners in scoring position and they're hitting in that situation versus giving up the long ball. That all played a role in this series because we out hit or had as many hits in the Yankees in every single game. They didn't out
Yeah.
hit us in a single game. So I know a lot of people want to point to the pitching, but I think it was you just didn't have the timely hits that you were getting most of the season.
Yeah.
You just weren't getting those at bats. You weren't getting as deep into counts. The starters were going longer. And then keep in mind, Jose dealt with a torn ligament in his thumb like half the season as well. So
Yeah.
even though he still had a great postseason, I think that was obviously a factor as well as having that torn ligament. But let's put a bow on that series. Do you have anything else to add about the
No,
Yankee series?
I'm very, very proud of what the Guardians were able to accomplish this year. Getting into the playoffs, winning the Central Division was huge. Knocking out the Rays, that 15 inning marathon game where SpongeBob was born, and he is now an icon in Cleveland sports lore. The Yankee series, yeah, we took them to the end and we had our chances, and unfortunately we didn't capitalize. I think you said it best. Didn't we didn't get the timely hits that we needed, and I think the pitching was great. I think the pitching held its own as best it could, and the Yankees proved to be the better team, and guess what? They got ousted by Houston very quickly.
Yeah.
So
And I understand people are mad about the Savali decision. I think Russ played a role there. I was surprised that they pitched, I think, Plesac the day before. I
yeah.
think it would have made sense to start Plesac, maybe have him go 2, 3 innings, then go Savali, or vice versa, and then go from there. But a lot of people were saying, well, why didn't you go all in and pitch Bieber? If Bieber would have gotten rocked, then everybody would have saying, why didn't they pitch Savali when you had your number 4
Yeah,
starter? It could have gone either way. But in the end, it didn't matter because you only scored 1 run.
yeah.
Like if
And I
it
think
if those
Tito,
runs would have mattered, I would be more mad.
yeah.
If they had lost 5-4 or something, I would have been more mad about how the pitching matchup was put together.
Mhm.
But they scored 1 run.
Yeah, and honestly, we got to look at big picture here. I mean, Shane Bieber came off of a very serious injury
Hmm.
last year, and he missed a chunk of the season.
Most of the season, yeah.
Yeah, and you're expecting him to kind of go above and beyond what many expected. I mean, he had a great season, but you're willing to risk that long term? I mean, I get it. I've heard the rumors that Shane Bieber may not be here and they're going to trade him at some point and blah, 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 blah. I've heard it all. That's fine. Right now, Shane Bieber's the ace of that staff.
Yeah, and I think
I
he
would
actually will
rather,
stay next year. I don't think they're trading him. The names actually I've heard in terms of starting pitching trade is Plesac and Savali.
oh, absolutely. We've got a little bit of depth, and I think that those two guys will get you something in return. But we can talk about that here in a minute, where
Mhm.
we look forward to next year. But I support what Tito and the and company did. Yeah, you threw Savali out there, and he didn't pitch great. I wouldn't either if I had 10 days off in between starts and I'm out of my routine. And there's so many different things. Listen, they had a great season. They were so exciting to watch. Take it for what it's worth. I mean, now you plan on next year. Now you
Right.
look at what this team has, and if we get half of what this team did this year, I think we're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, and before we get to some of the positives of the season and what we want for next year and what we want them to do in the offseason, Mike, tell us where we can get some graphic work done.
Yeah, hey, are you looking to spruce up your company's logo or website? Are you looking for help when it comes to digital arts and marketing? Then you look no further than Nova Digital Arts. You can check out their work at NovaDigitalArts at iCloud.com. Tell them the MLB GuardCast sent you. They are located in Green. You can give our friend Derek a call at 234-716 1687. Nova Digital Arts, creating magic since 2007.
Awesome. So we had some awards. This is also something that we were waiting for. We were waiting for the
Yeah.
Gold Glove announcements, and we had 5 nominations, 4 winners. Jose Ramirez was nominated. He did not end up winning, but
No.
Andreas Jimenez won a Gold Glove. Stephen Kwan won a Gold Glove. Miles Straw won a Gold Glove. And then a surprise to me, Shane Beaver wins a Gold Glove.
Bieber doesn't surprise me. He fields that position so well.
But
The
I don't
the shock was Jose not winning because I think had an amazing season,
Jose
and
had 10 errors this year, which was tied with Owen Miller.
yeah, that's a lot. 10's a lot. I didn't realize he had that many, but
Yeah.
um, Jimenez, a no-brainer. That man made so many outstanding plays at second base. He could be our shortstop next year. He could be our second base. He will be on the infield somewhere next year,
Mhm.
either at short or second. Miles Straw, we know when we got him from Houston that he is a defensive stalwart. We know that he knows what he's doing out there with a glove. If we can get his offense and his bat to match, there's no other person I want in center field.
Yeah,
Quan,
even if Straw can get to his career average of like 250, I think it is somewhere around there instead of the 220 he hit this year, that would
yeah,
make a huge difference. That's just a couple more hits,
yeah,
a week. Um, I think Jimenez stays at second base because he led the league in WAR at second base.
yeah. I can't
Stephen
imagine.
Kwan led the league in WAR at left field.
Yeah,
So you have
he's
these
there.
building blocks. You have
Mhm.
these building blocks now for this team. Ahmed Rosario was first in the league in triples. Stephen Kwan was second in the league in triples. So you also have a couple of silver slugger nominations in Andreas Jimenez and in Jose Ramirez. So we just said Jimenez won a Gold Glove, best WAR at second base, silver slugger nomination. So even more of a surprise about his postseason performance. And we talked about the injury, and it could just be a factor too of these guys hadn't been there before.
Mm-mm.
This is a young team.
Jimenez is 22.
Yeah. And
He's young.
Stephen Kwan is what, 20 let's see.
Twen
24. Stephen
Yeah.
Kwan's 24. Jimenez is now 23. He
Oh,
must have had a birthday
happy
recently.
birthday. Happy birthday, Andres Jimenez. We missed it. Sorry.
But Oscar Gonzalez is 24. Josh Naylor's only 25. Of guys that are going to be back next season, Jose's the oldest, and he's not even 30 yet.
Yeah. And that's your building block right there. We know he is cemented at third base. He will be in the starting lineup at third base. We know that. I will say Quan getting the Gold Glove was a no-brainer. That man
Mhm.
made so many outstanding plays. The catch at Coors Field in Colorado is what did it for me. That just showed me that he is ready to be here. Now, if his offense matches his defense for his career, I'm going to be through the moon. Quan
Yeah,
was incredible.
I'm surprised he didn't get a nomination for Silver Slugger as well. I
Yeah,
thought he did deserve it, given that he hit 298, and Jimenez hit 297.
yeah.
Slugging Jimenez was 66 points higher, so I'm sure was a factor. And a lot of the outfielders tend to be more power hitters, and
Mhm.
as opposed to kind of what Quan was doing. But either way, they have I think far less holes than we thought we had going into this season. We answered
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of questions, and there's only a few spots where I really think they need to improve. And I would really love a first baseman like a Josh Bell.
Yeah.
I want Sean Murphy in the worst way. I know we have Bo Naylor coming up,
Mhm.
but
He'll be
I
a
don't want
rookie.
to I don't want
So
to rush him. I don't want to
right.
push him. Bo Naylor can start off as the number 2 catcher for a little while, and
Right.
you're going to get him plenty of at bats. You also have the opportunity, if they don't sign a DH, like an actual DH, you can rotate that DH in there as well. And then I think we need a left-handed starter, and that's where I think, potentially trading a Savali or a Plesac comes into play. I don't like Plesac. We've talked about that. I want to move him either way. So if it involves, maybe that trade for Sean Murphy, if that involves Plesac, and then you sign a left-handed pitcher or you trade some of your other prospects for a left-handed pitcher, I think you do that. Plus, they do have some prospects that could be making starter major league debuts next year as well.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the grand scheme of things. I want Austin Hedges. I know this is going to sound really, really funny coming from me. I want Ahmed Rosario back, and I want him at shortstop.
Yeah,
And
and
he
I think
and he,
he I
and
think
I
he will
think
be.
I think that he proved himself. He proved his worth. Give that man a raise. He did a lot for this team.
And I think that's a fair ask too, because you don't know if Tyler Freeman can man the position. You don't know if Gabriel Arias can man the position. Are they going to try to move Gabriel Arias to first base?
I hope not.
Is
I hope
Nolan
not.
Jones going to be a first base position man?
Possibly.
So maybe that potentially takes you out of the running for Josh Bell because you think you have an internal candidate for first base. But I would like to see you had stability with Ahmed at shortstop. I don't want to see them kind of rock that. And he was also a leader for this team.
Yeah, he was.
So I
It
think it would
was.
be you have to be absolutely sure that Tyler Freeman or Gabriel Arias or later on in the season Brian Rocchio are going to just be like Oscar Gonzalez like when it comes to a rookie season and Stephen Kwan like when it comes to a
Mhm.
rookie season. And if you're not, then you hang on to Ahmed.
Right, I agree. I mean, what was it? Jose Ramirez who pleaded with Cleveland management to pay Ahmed Rosario and
Yeah,
get him an
he
extension.
he
And
even quipped that he would give him 40 million of his own money.
wow, and I wouldn't doubt that Jose would be a man of his word. Jose's definitely not here for the money. He's here because he loves the city and he loves the team. And I honestly think they love playing with Tito as well. We do know Tito will be back next year, which is great. Not that there was any doubt. But I
Has
think
there
on
been any announcement about manager of the year or
not yet,
nominations?
not yet. I think they wait until after the World Series, which I think is dumb. I think that you need to announce. I think if it's not Tito, then I would love to see who wins it because I don't know of another team
The
who
Orioles
took.
manager.
Yeah, they didn't even make the playoffs though.
Yeah, but they were
They
expected to be
turned it
very
away
bad.
around. Yeah, they did, and I'll give the Orioles credit. They turned it around, and they did really well. They just didn't make playoffs. So I think it as the grand scheme, maybe he finishes number 2, Tito finishes 1. We'll see. I mean, we'll obviously post on our socials and things like that. But I think I would like Austin Hedges back, and I would like him as our second catcher.
Not Bo Naylor.
No, and hear me out here. I honestly want to see Bo Naylor play every day, and I think he mans that DH position. I do. I think that would be a fit for Bo, and then occasionally you get him reps behind the plate. Um,
So you
Austin,
almost carry a third
I
catcher.
think it would make sense to me. I think Bo could play that DH fairly regularly, and then every once in a while you put him behind the plate, and maybe you keep Luke Maley around, or if you're able to go out and get a Sean Murphy type catcher, it'd be a no brainer for me. We know that Hedges is amazing on defense. He just couldn't hit water if he fell out of the boat in the middle of the ocean. He's just not known for being a contact hitter. He's a 200 career average, I think, is what Austin Hedges has right now.
Let's see.
I
He was 163 for the season.
ugh,
His
that's so
career
bad.
is 189.
Okay,
So
so he's not
you're
even a
probably
200.
never going to get better. You're probably never going to get him over 200.
No, but as a defensive catcher and the way he handles the pitching staff, I can't see you not having him around. I just think
Well,
he brought a lot to the team in a clubhouse standpoint. I mean, I remember watching him walk around, seeing the pictures of him walking around Progressive Field with no shirt and a cigar hanging out of his mouth, and people were loving it because
yeah,
that
he's a fun guy. And he is a leader. I just think I think he's going to be more of a backup scenario if they
yeah,
can't get Murphy, because I think Murphy brings all of those same things. He's
yeah,
good at managing a game. He's good defensively, but his batting average is like 60 points higher.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, we needed offense. I don't think Gabriel Arias is at first base. I'll argue that one. I really think it's going to be Nolan Jones. I think I would be surprised if they went outside the organization to fill that spot. Because with that opening kind of at DH, you can fill some gaps and move some people around. You can give days off. That's why carrying a guy like Bo Naylor and getting him at bats at DH is great. I wouldn't be surprised if Bo Naylor got maybe a few at bats at first base. I think that anything is possible. If you're able to get a player like Sean Murphy to play catcher, then that kind of gives you the flexibility to move some pieces. I think the outfield set, Quan, Straw, Gonzalez, I think that's dead set. I don't see
Yeah,
that changing.
I say Josh Bell or I say somebody along his makeup because I think they need another power hitter.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
we're not sure if we're going to get that in Nolan Jones. We're not sure if we're going to get that in the Gabriel Arias. We're not even sure if we're going to get that in Bo Naylor. Now he's
Right.
done really well in the minors, and he's projected to do well in the majors. But Bobby Bradley was still crushes minor league pitching, and he's a massive bat in AA, AAA, but just can't translate it to the majors.
No.
So
And he's currently unemployed.
yeah, so I think they need another power bat. It seems like we still have a lot of these guys that are the contact first guys,
Mhm.
and that's fine and that's great, and it was really really fun to watch, and I think the rule changes for next year is just going to help that and help this team. But Oscar Gonzalez will continue to develop some power. Josh Naylor will have a full season recovered, and I think if he's not playing first base, he's your primary DH.
Yeah, I could
So
see that.
you have that aspect as well, and you can rotate him. So that's why I think I kind of do want another first baseman DH, because then you could just kind of rotate the two around, and then if Josh needs a day off because of his leg, Jose DHs or Ahmed DHs, and
Yeah.
you and I think they need to, where Arias and Freeman could come into play here, is I think they need to kind of make better use of the utility position for the infield. And it just seemed like Ernie Clement was that guy for most of the year,
He was.
and it's like they, and maybe it's because they were just trying to figure guys out, but that utility guy should be playing, I think, a little more often, and maybe they didn't have a player to consistently play a little more often, or they haven't had a utility player, because Mike Freeman was the utility guy there for a
Yeah,
couple of
he
years.
was.
So I think they need to. It'd be nice if one of those guys, Arias or Tyler Freeman, could make that jump too, maybe initially this year. And then if they decide not to bring Ahmed Rosario back after next season, then one of those guys takes the shortstop spot. But I want to see them consistently hit for another
Mhm.
season.
I agree with you 100% there, Brian. I think that does make sense. If we were able to get a power bat in the outfield, maybe like a guy like Ian Happ from the Cubs, or I know we talked about him on our trade deadline stuff, or if another player potentially becomes available, I'd be okay with that. And then maybe you slide Quan to center, and then Straw is your fourth outfielder, and then you're able to rotate them in. I know it's wishful thinking, and that's basically asking the Guardians to spend money, which as of yet, since 2018, they have not. Uh,
Well, but they were also in a transition,
yeah,
and I think they will spend some more money this year. I think they are in the same spot with the 40 man that they were this last offseason. There's
yeah,
decisions to be made, and you can't protect everybody. So this is all coming to a head. I don't think they mess with the outfield this year, to be honest, because they also have more prospects coming. George
right.
Valera is going to be here soon. So do you want to block
I
him by
no,
signing Ian Happ?
no, but he could also be a DH. So that's the thing. That's why I'm saying I would love for this team to keep that DH spot open. I mean, obviously, if you can go out and get a power bat, you go get a power bat, because that's something we desperately needed. I agree we need a left-hander in the starting rotation. I think that would help. And I'd also like to see them add a dominant lefty in the bullpen. I just think that that's something, not taking away from Sam Henches.
I was just gonna say, isn't Sam Henches your
He's
guy
had a
there?
phenomenal season, but I like to think that you need a second lefty. There's so many lefty bats in Major League Baseball. I know the rules have changed and you don't have like your left-handed specialist like you used to, but now, especially with the shift going away, I think having a second lefty in the pin may help you. And it's wishful thinking again. I mean, obviously, the back end of that bullpen was electric with Clase and Trevor Stephan and James Karinchak, and then even like Eli Morgan. There were so many guys that played way above expectation, and just wishful
Well,
thinking. I mean, having another
they have a
lefty would be great.
potential couple of internal candidates for that.
Okay. And well, Anthony Ghost, if he can come back, and
If he can come back, but I'm thinking more Pilkington or McCarty
I think Pilkington,
if they're not starters.
I was going to say, if you trade Savali and Plesac, I think Pilkington slides into the rotation, and that's just going to give you more of an opportunity to say his name correctly, because we know that was a struggle a little bit this
It's
year.
not Pinkerton.
No, it's not Pinkerton, but yeah, Pilkington had a great season when called upon. I think he did really well. I could see him being a starter, and being that left-handed starter. We have that internal candidate. McCarty, I'm still not sold on him. I'd like to see a little bit more out of him, I think, but
But
potentially.
my point being is either of those guys, if they're not starters, if they don't develop into starters,
Yeah.
could be the next Sam Henches.
Yeah.
That where the year before, Henches was a very bad starter
Mm-hmm.
and then turned into a great relief, mid-relief setup guy for you,
Yeah.
pitching 1 or 2 innings.
Or
And I think
or
that there's
three in the wild card
yeah,
game against Tampa,
which
which
was wild. I hated that decision, but it
it
worked.
worked out. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't the best decision, but it worked. Yeah, it's this team. What more can you say? I mean, we talked about it all season long, how exciting this team was and how they were never really out of any game. That comeback win against the Yankees in the playoffs proved that.
That was one of the most exciting games I've watched in a long time. I mean, they had a lot of really good ones this year,
Yeah.
against like the White Sox and the Twins and the walk-offs. But in a playoff scenario, and then the videos, there's a video of a guy that he's in his apartment across the stadium and he was recording out the window, and you hear like just a faint hum of fans, but then the explosion of fan cheering and the fireworks going off.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, Oscar Gonzalez and SpongeBob became Cleveland lore at that moment, and so
Yeah.
that was incredibly exciting. And I thought they had it. I thought they had it after that. I thought the Yankees were going to be on the ropes. I thought they were going to be mentally
Well,
beaten down.
they
The
were
fans
on the
were beaten
ropes.
down.
We just couldn't complete it.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. But I don't want to dwell on that
No. Let's
because
look forward
there's
to next season. Next season's going to be great. Rule changes. We're not going anywhere, folks. The MLB GuardCast is not going anywhere.
yeah,
We are
I
going to
think
stay attached to social media. We're going to stay attached for the winter meetings and things like that.
and if
And
there's a big move, we'll
you'll
be
hear
here.
from us. Exactly. We're not going anywhere. We're fans first. The podcast comes second, but I mean, this has been an incredible ride. This is so much fun. And if next year is better than this year, holy cow, I might be moving to Cleveland. You never know. Like, I may spend every day in Cleveland at the ballpark, because this team was that much fun.
I just hope to see more support.
Mm-hmm.
I hope all that negativity from the beginning of this season has now washed away when it comes to name change and signs falling and logos and how much they spend. Like, who cares about all that now?
Right.
They made it to the playoffs, and so get out there, support this team. let's sell out opening day as soon as tickets go on sale,
Yeah.
and hopefully have, a little more support for the team throughout the season. And because as much as people don't like to hear that, the more that people go to the ballpark, the more money there is to spend on players.
Right. And let's be honest, there won't be a lockout hanging over us
That too.
and
That
slowing
just
down the start
overall
of season. And
negativity of
right,
MLB. Yes.
right. Brian, this has been an absolute ride. I greatly appreciate you riding shotgun with me all season long. It has been so fun, and we're not done. That's the great thing. We are not done. We're going to get bigger, better. I'm going to try to throw some surprises at you for next year, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, yeah, we'll have some guests on,
Yeah,
and it's going to be a really fun season next season. I can't wait. As much as I don't want to wish for winter to be here, I want the off season to start now. I
yes.
want to
Let's.
see I want to see them make some moves,
They will.
and if they don't, we'll be a little disappointed because we were at the trade deadline. We thought they should have made some moves then. But I hope that we're really excited. I hope we can just have a podcast episode of, "Oh my god, did you see that trade? This is gonna make them so much better, and here's all the reasons why." And I
Right.
really hope that we have that episode.
Oh, it's coming. It's absolutely coming. I can't agree more. Get to the ballpark, support this team, get ready to buy tickets, get ready, folks. This is going to be so much fun the next few seasons. This team is so young and they're only going to get better.
Yeah, we're not I think the only pending free agent is Austin Hedges and Bryan Shaw, if you count him, but he was already
No,
designated for assignment. And then, Luke Maley, I believe, has an arbitration option.
he
So
does.
pretty much everybody is going to be back. If they're
Yeah,
not back, it's because they moved them. But we're not losing anybody big. All your
no.
key players are coming back.
And guess what? This winter, the team may throw some extensions at some players, mainly a Shane Bieber,
And
maybe Aaron
Andreas Jimenez.
Savali, and Rosario and Jimenez. There's going to be some guys that they may throw some money at. So stay tuned. Buckle up, guys. It's the season may be over. The calendar may be switching. Snow might be falling here soon, but baseball will be back very soon. Don't worry.
All right. Talk to you guys in a couple months.
See ya.